All right, so look, it is diabolical on so many levels to expect people to continue to go to work with the highest level of performance while the world is crashing, while the economy is falling apart, while most people can't even afford to feed themselves. If you haven't figured out already that your job doesn't give a shit about you, then you're going to learn here soon, because even as tariffs make things more expensive, even as the cost of living continues to increase more and more, every day you're going to go to work and you are going to be faced with the least amount of empathy you can ever imagine. You know what I mean? Your employer knows what's going on in the economy, knows that most people cannot afford to live, knows that most people are going through a mental health crisis trying to exist in this country. And rather than try to be helpful, rather than use their position of authority or power or use that business as a leverage to help people, they use that position in a narcissistic way to gaslight people into making people feel like, oh, well, it's just your fault. You know what I mean? If you would just come in and work those extra hours, then maybe you wouldn't be so poor. If you just would have came in on that day like I asked you, then maybe you would be able to put food in the fridge. It's that type of little shit like that. And I think a lot of people, I think if you can't see the narcissism in the workplace by now, then you're just blind and deaf and you have zero consciousness. I don't know how you just can't see it. But despite the fact that the world or our society seems to be collapsing, despite all that, they will continuously expect you to overemphasize your potential and ignore your limitations and put your best foot forward and put a smile on to continue making these corporations money while you and your family and your kids cannot even afford to exist. And they will look at you with this look of, they will look at you in the most non-empathetic way, as if like you're suffering as a personal problem and has nothing to do with a systemic failure. You know what I mean? And they'll try to gaslight you into making you feel like it's your fault, and they use that guilt to get you to do more work, to get you to come in on those other days, to try to convince you that all you have to do is do right by the company and your life will be better. That's fucking madness. And I think and these days, when people already having a hard time struggling to survive, and then that mental part of having to go to work and pretend like everything's normal and get through a whole day of customer service and going through this, whatever your job is, you know what I mean? And we are expected to continue to act like everything is normal when everything is not. It's crazy. Watch. You're going to start to see more little episodes, more people snapping at the job, more people just fucking crashing out because shit, we're only human. We can only struggle and suffer so much. And the fact that the society, rather than care, rather than try to help, rather than try to heal, rather than try to make things better, they try to make things worse. And then when we're at our lowest, when we feel like we have nothing else to give, we're about to give up, these employers, these businesses, these companies will not feel any level of shame, any level of guilt about the fact that they had a part in initiating your burnout. They had a part in increasing your overstimulation and influencing the mental health crisis that you're facing right now. They act like they had nothing to do with it. And then you just be out of there and they just go on to the next one and work them down and work them down and work them down. You know what I'm saying? People gonna snap. The human mind, the human spirit can only take so much.